welcome back to the I'm Enough Mastering Self-Love podcast. It's your girl, Charity B. I know, it's been a long time, like a couple of weeks, y'all. Hold the pause. Yes, I am back. Let's just go ahead and talk about that first. So, I know I've been gone a couple of weeks. I had some personal things going on with myself. I try to like push through it and stuff, and I just couldn't. I just felt like I was just unmotivated to be productive, and it's a lot of things that led up to that. So even though I tried to push through it, it wasn't working. So I was just like, all right, I gotta just stop everything. I can't be sitting on here talking about self-love and all this when, it's a whole bunch of negative feelings I'm feeling towards my life or my personal life. So it was just like, okay, I need to stop and figure some things out. And I'm glad I took that time. I went into hiatus. I just cut off social ties. I just was to myself, really. And I was getting out more because I work from home. So, sometimes it's just too much of the house was getting to me at that. But it was just like I needed some time to think. I felt stagnant in my personal life, not the podcast, just in my life. And I just needed some time to figure some things out. And I did just that. And, somebody special to me gave me some good advice. And, he was just like, your process is unique to you. We go through these things for a reason. We're not just going through stuff just because people or the universe just wishes bad things on us. We go through these things for a reason. It's meant to prepare us for the blessings and where we're supposed to be eventually, So you need to learn how to love your process. If you give up, that means you didn't want it as much or you didn't want it as bad. You have to keep fighting. If your mental is strong enough, you can get through it. So they kind of helped me and that stuck with me. So even though I was feeling down in that moment, I was able to get back up and get it together. And so I was like, my time away also like kind of showed how much I miss my podcast and how much I miss helping. Because even when I wasn't doing my podcast, I was like out and about and I was still talking to people about stuff like this. And I was like, and everybody keep asking me about it. So I was like, I know, give me a minute, hello. But so I'm back and I'm in the flesh. I'm here. I'm gonna do this little episode and wrap it up in a nice little cute gift box with a cute little bow. So, also I hope you guys are doing well. I would like to hear what y'all going through. How's your life been? Hope it's been great. I really do. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into episode number 5. This episode is called Fresh Out, Now What Relationship Edition. I kind of liked it. It gave it a little spice. But in this episode, we're going to talk about breakups. What does self-love look like during the breakup process? Why it's important to experience the emotions and feelings that we do during the breakup process. Now, most of us have experienced heartbreak and heartache with in a relationship with someone we were either in love with or together with for a long time if you haven't experienced love. But we all know that heartbreak hurts really, really bad, and the healing process is even more treacherous. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy because I experienced heartbreak once. And no, it's not given at all, not even a little bit. Like I wouldn't want to. It's just too much. It's a lot. It's so many emotions that you go through, and it can be an overwhelming process. Even if you are the person that initiated the breakup, or you knew months prior that it wasn't working, you try to make it work. It's still the whole thing of trying to like detach from that person and knowing that you will no longer have that access to that person anymore. They don't have the access to you to pick up the phone and be like, hey, what you doing? Even if you have never been in a relationship, because some people have not, and but you have experience, you may have experience, getting into it with someone you were super close with and y'all just couldn't figure out the differences and y'all kind of went y'all separate ways. So and that can be painful too. We're human. As a human, if you've had that bond with somebody, it's just it can be very hard and treacherous trying to like learn how to detach and come to terms with, now I have to live the rest of my life without that person, even though they brought me this much happiness. But it's like, okay, well, it wasn't enough in order for the relationship or friendship to work, so now we have to cut ties. It can be painful, and it's not like one of those superficial cuts, you put a little Neosporin on it and a band-aid, and in the next couple of days it starts to heal, it hurts less. It's more so one of those deep cuts. I think I would compare it to chopping your arm off halfway but it's still hanging. Wow. That's how I would compare it to, because it hurts within, and it's one of those processes. Like, it may take a couple months, it may take a year or so. And I actually met somebody who's like been broken up with somebody for like a year and still experiences those things, because the things we go through, it just stick to us. So, you know, hurt puts some hair on your chest, okay? It definitely puts some hair on your chest. But it's important for us to experience all the emotions, all the feelings that and thoughts that run through our heads and during the breakup process or the healing process, because if we do not resolve those things, those unresolved feelings and negative emotions towards that person or thing, can allow them to still disrupt our future relationships or just our future in general. It can definitely affect either our work life, friendship life, or future significant other relationships if we don't deal with that. Who wants to have something just hanging over their head or just continue chasing them throughout life, and they never can get where they want to be in life? They just stay stagnant because they never dealt with that hurt. It's like when you owe on your credit card bill, and the bill collector's gonna call because they want their money. They want their money on time. You can keep ignoring it, but baby, they gonna keep calling every day and all day until you pay what you need to pay them. Then they'll leave you alone. It's the same thing. It's just having that burden of that weight on your shoulders of not forgiving that yourself, that person, or the whole situation as a whole in order to move forward or persevere. And it was something else I want to say. I be having brain farts, y'all. If like you think that you're healed, sometimes we do think we fully healed. We get too excited when we like midway in the healing process, and then we start, you know, acting normal and stuff, and then we decide, oh yeah, I might be ready for a relationship or another friendship. And then what happens when they do the same thing that the person that you were with prior did, and it just triggers you and make all those emotions, those unwanted emotions and feelings to flood back in. And then guess what? You have to start your healing process all the way back over from square one. And who wants to do that? Because the healing process, girl, it be taking a lot. It be taking a lot just to get halfway. So if you halfway and then you let this person thing trigger you, and now you're all the way back to square one, you're gonna start all the way over. Yeah, it's just not one. That's why it's important to feel the things you feel during the breakup process. That's why it's important to heal properly. Wounds take time. The wounds in the heart is gonna heal on its own time. It heals as it wants to when it's ready. It depends on what you've been through, what you had to experience through that breakup. It takes some time. We just have to go with the process. You cannot rush the process. You have to be willing to be like, okay, this is where I'm at now, and I'm gonna have to go through every emotion. It's like being in those big old bubble balls, and say for instance somebody threw you down a hill. If you're trying to control it to stop and all that, it's not gonna do it. You're probably gonna make the ball go the wrong way, and you might fall into a tree or something like that. You just literally have to be in the ball, let it roll, and see where it takes you. If you don't fight it, eventually it'll stop, right? Hopefully. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and briefly talk about like the 5 steps of the healing process / grieving process. They're both the same. But basically the 5 steps are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Now, denial is more so when you're trying to come into terms with like understanding what went on and why it happened. And like you're trying to like, it's just like, you know how when your thoughts just all over the place and your feelings all over the place, you like, I can't believe this happened. Oh my God, I'm mad. Oh my God, I'm sad. Why this person did this to me? Just like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo basically going on in your head. So it's just the part where you just like, okay, I need to step back, take a look, and let everything and process everything separately and organize it so I won't be just so discombobulated. But basically, you're trying to figure out, give your heart time to adjust to the new changes. You try to comfort yourself with the person that's coming back or will hit you up with an apology, etc. Right. And then also like the amount of time that each person experience in this stage or any of these stages really depends on the person, like I said. And especially if you're the one that kind of risked and sacrificed everything in order to make sure that the relationship worked at the expense of your own well-being and happiness. Yeah, it can just be really, you just trying to feel like, I can't believe this happened, I done wasted all this time, etc. But that's basically like the denial stage, the anger stage. Why did this happen to me? Why this person did it to me? Why did I allow this person to do it to me? You're angry with yourself and that person, so you're trying to find ways to forgive yourself and that person if you can. And you can, but that's just the disbelief that you feel within that moment, because it's fresh, it's new. And then some people make some irrational decisions. Whether it's going ahead and texting their paragraphs and stuff. I hate paragraphs, but texting paragraphs to the person, going over there, popping up, all that extra unwanted things that you should not do. Red flag. Even people try to sweep their feelings under the rug. Horrible thing to do. And why is it horrible? Because you can keep sweeping, baby, but the more you step on a rug, it's going to push whatever's underneath that rug from under it, and it's going to be visible. It's like you sweeping crumbs under there. Somebody gonna bring it out, whether it's an ant, roach, or whatever it is. It's gonna come from under that rug. So sweeping does nothing, baby. It just does nothing. It's a temporary bandage that's gonna pop back off, and that cut gonna be open right back up again. So I don't recommend that. People start looking at what their other significant other is doing and getting mad based off of that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't understand that. If you're gonna look and you're gonna peep, prepare yourself for whatever you're gonna see. They may be with somebody else, they may be doing their own thing, but why? It's like you worried about what they doing, and it's just gonna make you mad. You're just gonna forever be bitter. And honestly, don't recommend you stay in this anger stage too long, because you're gonna end up being bitter, and every time that person is brought up, you just not gonna be able to persevere with that, because there's just a lot of bad energy and you still feeling negative about that person, and you think everybody else gonna do you just like that person, etc. It's just a lot of things going on. And then in the bargaining stage, you try to befriend your ex or your ex-friend. Try to find ways to get them back in, but not all the way back in the door, and try to still have some type of access to them, because that kind of like help you with your coping mechanisms. So they say you consider dealing with them. You give yourself false hope that they'll come back, or that my exes always come back to me thing. Honestly, y'all, I don't understand that, because what does that mean? Your exes always come back. Baby, my exes always try to hit me up too after that, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like that's a goofy statement to say, because what if he don't want you or she don't want you? Sometimes people come back in your life because they want to see what you doing, what you got going on, or trying to disrupt your energy, or try to even apologize so that they feel better about themselves. I don't know. I don't understand that stupid thing. My exes always come back because I'm just that. They don't make you that girl or that boy. It just, I don't think that does. It's just, I don't know. It's a goofy statement to me, because like, okay, they're gonna come back, or they're gonna try to see if they can come back. But I promise you, it's probably not gonna be because of you. People say anything. People don't. I mean, maybe you do got that good old vibe and stuff like that, because I kind of see myself like that. I got that good old vibe, and people, I don't be having bad energy, and if we do end things, it's not because of me, it's because of the other person. So yeah, but I don't know, it's a goofy statement, because I wouldn't let nobody just come back in my life on no trying to get with me like that. We can be cool or whatever, because I don't have no bad blood, but no, and none of my exes really just did me just dirty or nothing like that. So like, that's why I know bad blood. But like, if you did me dirty, and I refuse to let you put your energy back in my life, whether you were my friend, you trying to be my friend or try to still talk to me or whatever. Because I mean, I don't need you to come back. It's just unwanted baggage back in my life when I'm trying to get my life together. But anyways, yeah, I was just confused. I was like, that's a real statement. Why do people say that? If you know why people say that, are you somebody who say that, please, and you disagree or whatever, put it in the comments or whatever, because I really don't understand that statement. I don't get it. I don't get the purpose of it, you know? But anyways, people even try to win their significant other back. Baby, this is not a race. If you're not gonna choose me and it's got, you gotta choose between me and somebody else, choose the other person, because I don't have time to be competing with nobody. If you want me, you want me. I know what value I bring to the table. So it's just like, what we competing for, baby? This not no, what you giving me if I'm gonna win? You? That ain't enough. That's not enough. I need something else. It ain't gotta be materialistic. You gotta just bring something to the table. Just like how it's vice versa too. Like even for men, females gotta bring something other to the table other than they draws. Because you can get draws out here anywhere, but you gotta bring something to the table. You gotta bring something to the table. The fact that they try not to lose sight of the fact both parties contribute to the end. I'm gonna come back to that. And people try to distract themselves by giving themselves false hope. As I said before, say this: depression and sadness is normal. But like I say, I feel like if your mental not strong enough, it's easier for you to let your emotions overconsume you. And it's like I said, you gotta, in life, I think it's more so you gotta want something so bad that you're not gonna let something so negative overconsume you, you know? You gotta have a balance in life. Yes, you can be, because let's be honest, not everybody, like, it's not 100% positive. I don't see, because things happen and we are human. We're going to feel some negative emotions. But depression and sadness is normal. You just do not let those things overconsume you. Whether you have to seek out help, professional help, or start, I don't know, doing stuff that motivates you to get you out of that depression, you gotta do it. But it's just more so of a mental thing. I think everything is just really mental, how strong your mental is. Everything is a test with your mental. And as humans, our emotions can like hinder us. But it's like, if our mental strong enough, we can get out of this. We definitely can. But in that's one of the healing steps. Depression, it comes to the fact that the situation is not going to change. This gives you some time, reflection time, to give you the alone time you needed, and you might end up relying on your support system a little more because you come to terms like, I can't help it. I gotta let this process do what it do. Like, I just gotta go through the emotions. Like, I can't fight it anymore. Because I feel like the earlier steps, you try to fight it and you try to like figure things out, because that's what our human instinct does, is try to figure everything out. What happens when you can't figure it out? You know, you just gotta go through the roller coaster. You just gotta ride it. You gotta ride the ride until it ends. And then the final step is acceptance. Comes to terms that you will or might never get the closure you need from the person that hurt you. Oh, that's a big one. Realizing that there was never anything wrong with you causing the person to do you wrong. This when you put your big pants on, your grown woman pants on, your grown men pants on. This when you put them on. It's when you realize it was never about you, and be able to piece what happened together, understand why it didn't work out, understand the lesson you got from the breakup, and opportunity to learn from your mistakes to use them in the future. I'm gonna say this: breakups or any type of things that hurt us, it actually helps you grow as a person. I can honestly say every single thing I've been through, whether it was my father's death, whether it's breaking up with somebody I was in love with, first love, etc., anything I've been through, I definitely feel like it helped me grow as a person. I wouldn't be who I am today without me experiencing anything. Because I feel like if we didn't go through a lot of things and everything was just peaches and cream, we would all be the same. Nothing would make us unique or different. We would just all be the same. So those are like the 5 healing steps. Now, we're going to talk about what does self-love look like in the healing process. Now, this is the one that everybody got to learn how to do. So the first thing I would say is learning how to split the blame on what happened or what caused both the relationship to end. Now, relationships end, it's 50-50. It has to work 50-50. Y'all both got to put in for it to work. Y'all both got to put in for it to not to work. I can say like cheating is maybe like something that you can say that it really wasn't all the way 50-50, because in some instances it's just like you could be doing everything. You're supposed to be the perfect girlfriend, the perfect boyfriend, and that person just cheated. Just did, because I don't know why, but they just cheated. And or there can be some times where like I've seen it happen, you know, especially like in married couples, they like a person's not getting enough from their significant other, and they feel like where they're not meeting the standards at, they're gonna go find it somewhere else, and they go out and cheat. So it could be 50-50. You still cheated, so you're definitely wrong, and the person who wasn't doing or giving as much as they needed to, they wasn't giving their half of into the relationship, that's where you went wrong. But you sometimes people tend to blame themselves, even when people doing them wrong, like the cheating aspect. They're like, well, maybe it was my fault that they cheated, and when it's not their fault at all. And it's just like, that's not showing self-love. You basically is putting all the blame on you and letting them get scot-free, and you hurting yourself even more, putting the blame on you and downing yourself more because you feel like it was your fault that they cheated. That's not what you're supposed to do. When you learn to put half of the blame on the other person, you recognize where you don't need to hold on to stuff, those feelings or those negative emotions and negative feelings that don't serve you best. Why keep dealing with something that you realize that wasn't supposed to work out anyway? It's not all your fault. It's their fault too. If you are somebody who like struggles with that or have issues with that, because I've seen it before, like even in some of my friends, it's just like, why are you such a good person? This person did you wrong, clearly. Like, you have to love yourself enough to want more and know what you deserve, and that's definitely not what you deserve. You don't deserve people to keep mistreating you and doing you wrong, and you letting them get away with it and letting them feel like, okay, well, they didn't do anything wrong, and clearly they did. If you don't love yourself enough, then you'll do exactly just that. That's when you start to fall back into the same traps and stuff, or even go back to that same person and get the same mistreatment, and you're still trying to figure out, well, why I'm not happy. Well, it's clear because you keep falling into the same traps. You're not changing anything. Like they say, change your fruit, you change your Okay, yeah, I was reading this book, and she was like, change your fruit, change your life. We attract what we are. It takes time for those wounds to heal. So it's like, we can't be like, okay, you can think that your significant other, your boyfriend, for instance, is like, he ain't doing it no more. He just, the loyalty not there, etc. It's just too much to handle, and you break up with him, and you think that's gonna change your life. You can change the person you with, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, and change all that. Then go get the similar person that you was just with, and then you realize, you wonder why this not working. It's not working because you didn't change your fruit. You need to change on what you attract, what you like in a person. But back to what I was saying, as far as like, if you're a person that just struggles with like trying to put the blame on each other, like split the blame, what you need to do is sit down, make a list of the things that you did for the person. Not because you want to count favors or anything, but you need to see what you did that was great and what you did not do. Give yourself credit when it's due of what you did. You know, you did all that. You was loyal. You was there. You was a friend. Because not just being in a relationship with somebody is not just loving them conditionally, it's loving them unconditionally. Can you still be their friend without having the sexual side of the relationship? That's real love. But if you can sit down and give yourself credit where it's due, that would make you feel better about yourself, or feel better or less guilty about feeling like it was your fault because the relationship ended when it probably wasn't, you know? And showing yourself self-love as well is to also forgive yourself for, even if you think you allowed that person to hurt you, because sometimes we do allow people to hurt us when we see the red flags, or we're those people that particularly like try to make things work because we care about that person. No matter what we see, we be like, it ain't all that bad, but some of it is bad. So why not walk away when some of it's bad and wait till it get worse? It's like, why do that to yourself? And then you end up hating this person, or you don't like them. When you can finally sit down and be like, I'll let this happen, that's fine. But don't sit there and belittle yourself and make yourself feel worse. It happens. We're human. We make our mistakes. You need to learn from the mistakes, forgive yourself, and learn how to, once you forgive yourself, you can then lay out those blueprints or like those boundaries that you need to have next time if you ever face that problem again. We don't go through these situations to beat down on ourselves. We go through this so that we can learn from them and apply it. It only makes you stronger when you go through all the hurt that you have been through. And then sometimes we just realize when we blame ourselves so much, and we do so much self-blame, we end up resenting ourselves. You don't want to resent yourself, because you stuck with yourself for the rest of your life, literally 24/7. You're stuck with yourself. You keep resenting yourself, you're not going to be happy, and you're going to fall into depression. You're just not going to be happy. You're not going to experience that great happiness that I talk about all the time, that people try to attain within themselves. You remember that God gives his strongest soldiers the hardest battles. He only gives you what he know that you can handle. He's never going to give you anything or let you face something that he know you can't handle. Like I said, we go through these things for a reason. Either if you're a person with low self-esteem issues, or you have trouble with being alone, you'll be put in those situations where you get hurt real bad in order for you to be faced with what you need to deal with. Because sometimes it's hard for us to sit down and be like, okay, we'll probably know what the issue is. For instance, I'll probably be like, okay, I have a problem being alone. But okay, we'll just push it to the back burner because it's not big of a deal. But it is a big deal, because if it is a big deal and it's hindering you in your other areas of your life, something is going to happen that is detrimental, that will cause you to be alone, or to something that will cause you to want to like boost your self-esteem levels in order to get yourself together. Especially if you're a person like, well, I don't know why I'm so stagnant, I'm still in the same place. But you realize these problems that you have, you just don't fix them. You're going to be faced with things that will help you fix it, and you probably be like, well, why? Well, this is why. We go through these things for a reason. It definitely does make you a stronger person. Okay? You just gotta learn to let go. I'm not saying forget. It's just forgive that person for all that hurt they caused you. I know it's very hard. It's easier said than done. But when you get to the point where you can that it's better for you to forgive this person, stop being angry at them, it will actually benefit you more, then it'll be easier for you. You don't have to forget, because when we forget, we tend to fall into the same trap. I'm not saying forget. You just need to forgive that person in that situation to move forward. Also putting emphasis on forgetting what you already know. The healing process is not knowing what to do, but it's like accepting the feelings and just going through the motions, literally. Like I said, it's something that you can't try to like stop from happening, or like you try to like do other things to see if you can skip the level. Like, it's not that type of thing. It's something you just have to organically go through in order for your heart to heal how it naturally needs to. It won't be something that you can, find what they call it. I forgot what they call it. What they call it when they in the game and you try to like put in these little hacker codes in order to like bypass it. Anyways, I don't know what it's called, but that's what I'm talking about. But it's nothing you can't hack. You can't hack the process. It's just something that you just organically just have to go through. You just have to remember that there's no right process. It's just your process. Everybody's heartbreak, everybody's process is different. You're unique, and for you to be where you need to be, you have to go through this organically. And also, it's okay to get advice from the people you love. It's not saying that you gotta do this all by yourself, but you shouldn't rely on them 100%. You still need to make sure that you're doing the work to get through this, because sometimes we rely on them too much. We can't process how we actually feel. Us getting the advice from people we love is fine, but if we rely on them so much, we still gonna be confused because we didn't process we don't know. They don't know how we feel. They can't process how we feel. They can only think from a logical standpoint or point of view, looking from the outside on in. They can't process how you feel. And so like I had to learn that too, because I've always been that person where like I give advice to my friends and stuff, and it's like sometimes I feel like I was talking to a concrete wall, because I'm telling you or giving you advice, and yet you're coming back to me like multiple times talking about the same thing, and I'm like, I already didn't gave you the advice and you're just not applying it. And sometimes it can make you upset because you're the person. It's like, bro, you're wasting my time asking me for advice. Are you telling me about this and you're not doing anything about it? It's just like, okay, tomatoes, because I don't want to hear it. So I just had to learn over the years, you sometimes you just have to like, if you are that person giving that one of your friends or loved one advice and they've gone through this, sometimes you just gotta tell them. If they ask you for your advice, give them advice, but don't get upset with them because they don't do what you say or take your advice, because I have to understand that I'm here logical. They're coming from a place of pain and hurt, so they're more so on the emotional side. They probably haven't got to the step I'm at logically to understand where I'm at. But if you give them time and you just be like, you tell them what's what, you give them advice and you step back, they keep telling you, just be like, okay, well, like, don't give them advice. Eventually that silence, or like I start even talking to them on the phone, like I just be like, I'm just gonna text you because I don't want to hear nothing about that, because you're still gonna tell me about the same thing I already gave you advice about. But eventually when they get there mentally, they're gonna be on the same page with you and they're gonna understand where you're coming from. Then they'll be able to take your advice when they get there, when they're ready, because they're not ready at that time. They talking, or they're coming from the place of hurt. So it's different. Y'all on two different levels mindset wise at that time. So it's like you got to give them the time to get through it, And also, how you can show self-love during a breakup is not beating yourself up for taking longer than you expected. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, I met a young lady probably last week, and she showed me a lot, because I was going to talk about this like months ago, but she showed me a lot, because it's kind of hard when you're the type of person that just be like, well, why you don't just do this? Because I'm not really the type of person that just be like going off emotions too long. Like I said, when my heartbreak, I was with that person maybe for like 3 years, and I'm going to say it took me maybe a couple months, 3 months to like process everything. And it's because I'm a more logical person. It's not saying that my feelings was fake toward that person, because there weren't. That was actually the first time I was actually be vulnerable with somebody. I had never been vulnerable with a significant other before. And so it's just the way I process things is more logical. I'm not emotional. I'm not your typical female. I don't be like emotional. Like, I come from a logical standpoint, and I'm just like, I process everything how I needed to. Of course I was angry. I'm not gonna say I'm just totally 100% emotionalist. No, I was angry and I was hurt as hell, but I sat there and I was able to process everything. Why once I was able to cry it out and get all my anger out, I was able to sit there in silence, because I was okay with being alone. Like I told you, I've always been okay with being alone. But I just sat there and I was like, okay, well, why I didn't break up? And the more open and more like I detoxed all the negative feelings, I was able to get an understanding on why it didn't work out. And I was like, well, this is why it didn't work out. And I'm like, well, yeah, I would never want to be with somebody I love and I resent at the same time, not understand why it just didn't work out. And like when I tell it to other people, they're like, well, I wouldn't understand. But it's just like, you know, everybody's different. But I understood. And I gained a lot of insight from that relationship. It helped me grow as a person. So I learned why it didn't work out. I was able to understand why what I needed to learn from that relationship. Then again, like I didn't, like I said, like my grown up relationships, nobody ever just really did me dirty or did me dirty at all, really. So it's just like I didn't have a lot to heal from. It's more so, or I didn't go through a lot to like have to do all that. So it's just like, that's why my healing process didn't take that long. I was able to understand why I was going through the motions, where things went wrong, basically. And I would have my denial stage too. I was denial. I wasn't bargaining though. I'm the type of person, once we cut ties, that's fine. I'm fine with being friends with you, and but like until I get myself together, because the whole respect thing, I don't, just people don't understand, which I get it, being friends with your ex or stuff like that, because it's just weird. So, but like I'm the type of person, like we cool, but if I get somebody and I'm serious about that person, we're not friends, because you wanted to burn that bridge anyways, or you wanted to end it. So now, I don't owe you no type of explanation about, y'all get what I'm saying. I don't owe you that explanation to be like, okay, well, I have a boyfriend now, so I can't be friends with you. You don't get that, because you broke up with me to remove me from your life, I guess you could say. But anyway, so yeah, like I don't know, it just took me a couple months because of like I was able to logically process everything. Of course you miss your friend, of course all that, but I don't know, I was just able to just let it go, forgive myself, forgive the person, forgive the whole situation. It wasn't just that bad. But like I was saying with the lady I met, she was like, she'd been without the person for a year, and yeah, she was still just going through it. But it's just like, it gave me so much insight, because I was able to understand, because I think if I was in her position, I'd probably be the same way. But what I can say off of that, what y'all need to do in order to detox, if you are that person that you're still in your healing process and you feel like, well, why is it taking so long? It does definitely change you as a person, but one thing you do got to realize is, just because you hurt, don't go out and hurt other people, because they're not those other people. Like I said, that was a prime example. She was saying like she was to talk to other people, but it's just like she wasn't interested, because you still got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I totally understand. So just take the time you need, but don't beat up on yourself, because you cannot help it. The heart wants what the heart wants, especially if you're a type of person that's just, I wouldn't say emotional. You love based off your heart, or you just type of person that just, you think based off your heart, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, the process might be a little bit longer, and depending on what you've been through, and she had been through a lot, so I understand. But you need to show yourself some compassion. You need to show yourself some love. Realizing what you've been through and done, and not beating yourself up, embracing it, embracing what you've been through, embracing everything that may have damaged you, embracing it, because when you look back, you've definitely come farther than what you were prior to that hurt, that pain. You get that self-confidence you need. You get that self-worth. You start setting them boundaries. I'm not going to let him, or her do anything to jeopardize my self-happiness. That's the type of stuff. That's what you have to like do. That's self-love. That's really caring about yourself during this process. You have to be gentle with yourself. Nobody else gonna do it, because they're not gonna understand. That is your process that you're dealing with. You have to be gentle with yourself. You gotta be compassionate. You gotta love yourself more. Understand. That's the only way you really gonna get through it. Beating yourself up and getting angry, it can be a frustrating process, but it's just like, it is what it is. You just gotta just go through it, the emotions, and be organic with your own situation. Okay, and then, although breakups, I wrote this down because I can't remember. Although breakups can be hard to navigate, they help discover your points and where you've been abandoning yourself. Instead of trying to figure out what went wrong, choose to put your time and attention into someone who needs it the most, which is yourself, okay? So stop beating up on yourself. Stop belittling and doing all that and wondering why things don't work out. Just be organic with your process. You know, someone said the obstacles of your past can become the gateways that lead to new beginnings. So look at it as a different, you know, point of view. Look at it in a positive way. Even though it was a negative thing that happened to you, it was a bad thing that happened to you. Try to look at things differently. When you look at things differently, that allows you to sit down and be able to organically, it'll just come to you like why things didn't, you know, why it didn't work out, what you got from that. And when you realize the lesson you got from that, you're able to go on with your life. You're able to let go of that baggage. You're able to just get past some things. Single, the last thing I want to say to y'all before I go, remember that being single is normal. Being alone is okay. It's okay. Makeups are normal. Breakups are normal. Makeups when needed, that's what I meant to say, are normal. Because sometimes things just don't work out in that moment. Sometimes you need to go away and y'all need to go your separate ways, get y'all stuff together and realize that that's who you really want to be with. And that's okay. That's okay to get back with that person. But don't allow breakups to have or take up too much energy or your time than it actually needs to. It's a part of life. It's a sad thing we have to go through, but we do. But you just have to remember, we're going to get over it eventually. We're going to get past this. Pain and hurt doesn't last always. You're just going to get past it. So remember that. Remember to show yourself some love if you are experiencing a breakup or you are going through something where you have to detach from a loved one or cut ties with somebody in your life. But remember to love yourself on a deeper level and show yourself some real true love in order for you to be able to be that person, that better person that you need to be. Just remember that we go through these things for a reason, but always love yourself. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Enjoy the rest of your week.